Up next, we have a project on ENT access and referral optimization. Dr. Karen Meissy, who sponsored the project, couldn't come today, but I know that she's been very happy with the fantastic work Tess has done. This is, again, an area where there's a lot of clinical complexity, operational complexity, and a long, long track record of people looking at and trying to improve the process. So it's both very important and exciting, but also challenging to do something new in an area that's received so much attention and is such an impactful part of how we bring our patients in for surgery. So let's take it away.
All right. Thanks, Dr. Schenker. Yeah, Dr. Meister is actually in the OR right now, so couldn't make it. But yeah, I'll get started. I'm talking to you about access and referral optimization for new patient clinic visits within the context of the ENT department at LPCH. My name is Tess. Dr. Meister is my project sponsor within the ENT department. Dr. Schenker and Dr. Shin are my advisors on the SURF teaching team. So broadly, the problem that I've been investigating over the last quarter is just that scheduling outpatient visits can be really difficult, and it can be difficult for patients, providers, and schedulers. And I conducted a number of interviews with people from each of these groups over the last quarter within the ENT department, which primarily uses, or actually entirely uses, scheduling all of their patient visits over the phone. And so some complaints that I heard from folks were there were really long hold times waiting on the phone. There's often a lot of phone tag with schedulers calling patients and the patients not answering the phone or needing to call back. And there can be a lot of back and forth if any issues do need to arise and if something needs to be rescheduled. Sometimes things can be scheduled incorrectly, which requires more work to follow up. And then there's also just difficulties inherent in scheduling over the phone, like you need to call during normal business hours, the call might drop, and everything else you might imagine. So this can all lead to delays in patients being seen, provider dissatisfaction, patient dissatisfaction, and overall just unnecessary work hours spent scheduling. And on the whole, that can lead to issues with access into our clinics at LPCH. And I also just want to note that while I looked within the context of ENT, a lot of departments at Stanford do over the phone scheduling. And so looking a little deeper into this problem, I tried to estimate how much time is spent scheduling a single visit by talking to schedulers. On the low end, if everything goes perfectly well, it might take around 20 minutes. As a scheduler, you'll need to review your referral and attempt to call the patient the first time. You'll have to discuss a number of questions with them and then discuss possible appointment times and finally arrive at a solution that works for the patient. On the high end, though, it can take easily well over an hour. You, more often than not, actually have to call multiple times in order to schedule something with a patient. And in addition to everything you'd have to do if everything goes well, you might also need to escalate the case for triage. And then there'll be some back and forth between the triage team, the schedulers, and the patient in order to finally schedule a visit. So one possible solution that we looked into was just providing online scheduling for a subset of new patients with common, uncomplicated conditions. And if we were to do this, that would help to increase clinic access, reduce the number of hours spent scheduling, and overall just increase patient and provider experience satisfaction. And I did a case study into Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which already provides online scheduling for a subset of their new patients. And we have preliminary meetings scheduled with them to see what might work if we implemented something similar. And we're hoping to pilot that in ENT, but if it goes well, we hope to do it in other departments too. So let me just go ahead and show you a demo of what they do at Cincinnati Children's. And I will need to actually click out of that for some reason. But yeah, so you can go ahead and as a patient, just schedule online. If you don't have one of these specific issues, you can schedule a new visit yourself. You can go ahead and you can view all of the possible appointment times that are available for different doctors at different locations on different days. And you can also go ahead and filter by day of the week and time of day. You can go ahead and filter by a specific doctor if you want to see a specific physician. And you can even filter by location as a patient if a certain location or multiple work better for you. And finally, if you, or once you see a appointment time that works for you, you can go ahead and schedule that, write your reason for your visit, and then you'll just go ahead and input your patient information and receive, once you've scheduled it, a confirmation email and the ability to reschedule or cancel your visit once that's all done. I'll go back. And I wanted to see, I did a little more looking into just how much time this would save if we were to implement something like this in ENT. And I assumed on the lower bound that each visit being scheduled would take approximately 20 minutes. And I looked at a set of 5 diagnostic codes that, according to my research, looked like they would be good candidates for online scheduling as they're relatively uncomplicated to schedule. So on the y-axis, you can see the amount of time spent scheduling in 8-hour workdays. And then this is basically the amount of time spent per each of these 5 diagnoses per year, if you assume a 20-minute lower bound for each visit scheduled. And so you can see on the high end, it took about 76 8-hour workdays to schedule all of the sleep apnea cases in 2021. On the lower end, around 15 8-hour workdays to schedule tongue tie diagnoses in 2021. And on the whole, for these 5 diagnoses alone, around 207 full 8-hour workdays. And these were spent scheduling things that, for the most part, could probably be scheduled by patients on their own without needing to spend so much extra time on the phone with the scheduler. And so some takeaways: scheduling issues can take time away from providers and lead to provider and patient dissatisfaction, as often providers actually need to intervene if there are any kind of issues that arise. Online scheduling for new patients with simple conditions would enable our call center to do more of what they do best, and things a computer can't do, like handling triage or more urgent cases. And I also just want to say this is not to replace the current scheduling team at all, but it would make their lives, along with provider and patient lives, a little bit easier. So my name's Tess. I'm happy to accept feedback or questions. You can also email me, and that's my email and Dr. Meister's email as well.
I'll just mention that, again, this is something where there's been a lot of work, and people have known that online scheduling exists, but it really wasn't until this project that the magnitude of the opportunity and the benefit was quantified as clearly as Tess just showed, and then also that the proof of concept from Cincinnati. I know we're all sick of hearing about Cincinnati before I get resurgence, but the proof of concept and seeing it done elsewhere really does inspire that we should investigate this and that this could potentially help not just the ENT but more broadly. So very nice work.
Thanks. Yeah, we actually have a meeting scheduled with them in 1 week. It was hard to, there's a lot of people on the call, but yeah, excited to ask them questions about just how it was implemented and if they had a different system before, and both how difficult it was to implement something like this and also just how their lives have been impacted maybe by having something like that.
This is fantastic. It's also a real nice example of how something that might seem as innocuous as scheduling turns out to be a huge opportunity, because again, as you said, this is not just localized to ENT, but really almost every clinical substance out there. And so this could be transformative in terms of scheduling for operations. One thing I would advise is, as you're thinking about implementation of experiences, specifically ask Cincinnati, how not to underestimate the change management aspect of bringing automation into, because I think no matter how well intended automation tends to be, it could be also viewed as and there could be a lot of other aspects that not really, and that other people might be first. Just to kind of ask Cincinnati kind of carefully that those types of they may be very informative in terms of how it might be implemented here.
Yeah, thanks so much, Andy. Okay, thanks so much.